Hello, and welcome to Watch It Played. My name is Pet McDonald, and in this video, we'll be learning the 2 to 5 player game Hocus, designed by Joshua Burgel and Grant Rodiak, and published by Hyperbole Games. If you've played poker before, Hocus will take you to new places, combining magic and spells into the classic game. And if you haven't, prepare yourself for a blend of sorcery and strategy as you try to outwit your opponents. So, join me at the table and let's learn how to play. To set up, first give each player one of the double-sided reference cards and a set of these scoring cards, arranged like this. These are the advanced spell cards that come in 8 different types based on their color. Each player selects one, placing it face up in front of themselves. I'm setting up for a 2-player game, so I'll return the rest to the box. The remaining cards will make up the deck, but before we continue, we'll need to make some changes if there are less than 5 players. When playing with 3 to 4 players, you'll remove all cards showing a value of 0 or 14 in the top left-hand corner. When playing with only 2, like we are here, you'll remove all cards showing a value of 0, 1, 13, and 14. Regardless of the number of players, you'll also remove both jokers from the deck, which have no function in the core game, but may be used for variants in the future. Now shuffle the deck and deal out 10 cards to each person in a 2 to 3 player game, or 9 to each if you have 4 or 5 players. The rest are placed in a face-down deck in the middle of the table. Finally, determine a first player randomly. And that's the setup. Hocus is played over a series of rounds in which players take turns placing cards onto the table in order to form sets, which they will later compare against their opponents to score points. Turns are taken in a clockwise order, starting with the first player. On your turn, you must play either a basic or advanced spell. Though you will only use one spell a turn, there is no limit to the number of times you can use a spell during any given round. Let's start by learning the 3 basic spells that each player can use. By casting the Build Community spell, you will place one card from your hand face up into one of the rows we'll be creating in the center of the table. These rows are known as communities and can hold at most 4 cards each. In a 2 to 4 player game, there are 2 communities, and in a 5 player game, there are 3. So for us, we can imagine 2 rows of 4 invisible slots on the table waiting for us to play cards into. By casting the Build Pot spell, you will place one card from your hand face down into a single pot that exists beside each of these communities, even one that has not yet been started. Over the course of a round, any number of cards can be added to each pot, but they cannot be examined once placed. When using the Build Pocket spell, a player places either 1 or 2 cards from their hand face down into one of 2 piles they'll create in front of themselves, called pockets. Each pocket may not contain more than 2 cards, and you will keep these private, though you can look at your own at any time. Rather than casting the basic spells that all players share, you may instead choose to cast one of your unique advanced spells. Some of these may break the rules of the game, like Void Walk, which creates extra pockets for its caster beyond the regular 2. There are 2 advanced spell types which are fundamentally different from the rest: Enchantment and Chronomancy. It is suggested that you not use these 2 during your first few games. Enchantment spells are placed beside the play area they specify when cast. They have effects which will stay active until the end of the round, at which point they are all returned to you. Chronomancy spells each have a shift ability, which is a bonus action taken at the start of your turn, after which you continue your turn as normal, selecting whichever spell you wish to use. Also be aware of the Rift spell, which creates an extra play area known as the Rift. Any cards sent to the Rift are placed in this area. Something to keep in mind when choosing a spell is that you may not cast it if you are unable to fully complete its effect. For example, Tempest says, place 1 card in one of your pockets, draw 1 card. If both your pockets already have 2 cards in them, you could not use this spell to draw a card. There are a few other terms used in the game which will always refer to specific locations. Your hand is the cards which were dealt to you that have not yet been placed into any location. If a spell tells you to draw a card, it means from the top of the deck, and if that deck is empty, you cannot draw. The term return means to return a card from your hand to the bottom of the deck. As long as a player has cards in their hand, they must play a spell on their turn. But if they have no cards remaining when their turn starts, they must pass and cannot cast a spell. If there is only 1 player with cards in hand, they keep playing, but may not take actions that would cause them to draw more. Play will continue until all communities have reached their limit of 4 cards. At this point, each player, including the one to fill the last community, will have 1 more turn before the round ends. If at any point there are no players with cards remaining in their hand, the round will also end. Some advanced spells might have caused a card in a community to be face down. They should be flipped face up at the end of the round. Now it's time to resolve showdowns, with one happening in each community, resolved one at a time in an order chosen by the first player. Starting with the first player and moving clockwise, each player selects one of their pockets to commit to the community where a showdown is currently happening. They may also choose not to commit any, perhaps saving the pocket for a later showdown. After all pockets have been selected, they are revealed, and players now try to create the best set possible. Your set is formed by combining cards in your pocket with those in the community. But you don't remove cards from the center of the table. You just indicate your selections, as all players will use the community cards in their own set. The different sets you can create are shown on the back of your basic spell card. Let's take a look at those now, from lowest to highest value. For each of these examples, I will set up a community as well as a revealed pocket for each player. First is the high card. If no player has any of the other sets, the single highest value card will be the winner, regardless of suit. The value, shown here in the top left-hand corner, is also known as its strength. Next up is a pair. This represents two cards of the same strength. If multiple players have a pair, the higher strength wins. Having two pairs is even better, and if multiple players have two pairs, check to see which pair has the highest strength. If still tied, compare the lower pairs. Three of a kind is when a player has three cards all matching the same strength. If multiple players have three of a kind, the one with the higher strength wins. A straight is a sequence of 5 cards with an ascending strength. For example, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In the case of multiple players with straights, the one containing the highest strength wins. When a player has 5 cards from the same suit, they have a flush. The suit is shown by the artwork on the card, as well as the symbol below the strength. If multiple players have a flush, check to see which one has the highest strength in their flush, continuing down in order if necessary until a winner is found. A full house is claimed when a player has both 3 of a kind as well as a pair. Multiple full houses are broken first by which player has the higher strength 3 of a kind, then by the highest pair. When a player has 4 cards of the same strength, they have 4 of a kind. If multiple 4 of a kinds are in play, the one with the higher strength is the winner. The highest set possible is the straight flush. This requires a player to have a straight of 5 cards in a row, which are all from the same suit. If multiple players have a straight flush, the one with the higher strength card among them will win. The player with the winning set reveals that community's pot and adds up the points, shown here below the strength. They then adjust their scoring card by that number, like so, flipping the card to note a higher number if needed. After scoring, any cards in the pot showing the owl symbol are placed face up next to the winning player. During the next round, a player may use a single owl's effect, listed here, before or after casting their spell. Once used, an owl is returned to the deck. At the end of the round, any unused owls are also returned to the deck. It is possible for 2 players to tie for the best set in a showdown, for example, both having a pair of 10s. In that case, the full value of points in the pot will be split evenly, with any remainder being discarded and neither player claiming any owls. Once all showdowns have been resolved, check to see if any player has at least 25 points. If they do, the game is over and the player with the most points wins, with players sharing victory in the case of a tie. If no player has reached 25 points, another round begins and the player with the lowest score becomes the first player. Ties for lowest score are broken in favor of the player to the left of the previous first player. All cards except for claimed owls are shuffled back into the deck, and each player is again dealt cards based on the number of players, continuing to play until a player has claimed victory. And that's everything you need to know to play Hocus. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to put them in the comments below and I'll gladly answer them as soon as I get a chance. But until the next episode, thanks for watching.